In the day's other news, Russia said President Vladimir Putin is still waiting for President Trump to follow up on an invitation to visit the White House. The offer came in a phone call with Trump last month. In Moscow today, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Mr. Trump had also talked of visiting Russia.
We proceed from the fact that the U.S. president said that he would be glad to see President Putin in the White House, that he would be glad to meet in a return visit. President Trump has returned to this topic a couple of times, so of course we assume that he will make it more specific.
There was no immediate response from the White House. In the Middle East, violence erupted again at Gaza's border, and Palestinians said that 5 were killed and 150 wounded by Israeli fire. Thousands of Gazans turned out, and some burned tires and sailed kites carrying Molotov cocktails toward the border fence. Israeli officials said they defended the barrier with live fire and tear gas. There is word that North Korea will halt all missile and nuclear weapons testing as of tomorrow. That word comes from the state news agency. Earlier today, North and South Korea took another major step. The rivals installed and tested the first ever direct telephone hotline between Seoul and Pyongyang. Their leaders hold a summit next Friday. Several people were publicly caned in Indonesia's Aceh province today, despite international condemnation. Some unmarried couples were punished under Islamic Sharia law for public displays of affection, along with 2 women accused of prostitution. A crowd of hundreds, including Malaysian tourists, looked on. Many jeered and recorded the scene on their cell phones, and some objected to plans to move the public canings indoors.
This caning is carried out in public because it can be witnessed by everyone, so it will have a deterrent effect against others. The caning should not be done in prison for that reason.
Human Rights Watch says caning amounts to torture, and it has demanded that the provincial government abolish the practice. The state of Alabama executed an 83-year-old man overnight by lethal injection. Walter Leroy Moody, Jr. became the oldest prisoner put to death in the U.S. since capital punishment was reinstated in 1976. Moody was convicted of mailing 4 bombs that killed a federal judge and a civil rights lawyer in 1989. The casket of former First Lady Barbara Bush lay in repose in Houston today for a 12-hour public viewing. Her husband, former President George H.W. Bush, greeted some of the first people to file past. A private funeral will be held tomorrow. Mrs. Bush died on Tuesday at the age of 92. A warning today to avoid eating all romaine lettuce from southwestern Arizona. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention expanded an earlier alert over an E. coli outbreak. At least 60 people across 16 states have fallen ill so far. The CDC says the best advice is if you don't know for certain the source of the lettuce you bought, don't eat it. And on Wall Street, interest rates rose, tech stocks tumbled, and the market gave ground. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 202 points to close at 24,462. The Nasdaq fell nearly 92 points, and the S&P 500 slipped 23. For the week, all 3 indexes gained about 0.5%. And Britain's Prince Charles will be the next leader of the 53-nation Commonwealth. Member states met in London today and unanimously chose Charles for the largely symbolic position. He will succeed his mother, Queen Elizabeth, when she dies. The Queen turns 92 tomorrow. Still to come on the NewsHour, why the DNC filed suit against the Trump campaign, the UN human rights chief on the crises in Yemen and Syria. Students stage another walkout to protest gun violence, and much more.